Alright you lot, so as promised we're going to take apart and have a look at this. I wouldn't normally take this apart first. I'd normally run it and then take it apart later on when it breaks. But this is my very first Nitro engine I ever had. It come in my Savage 21, obviously, with it being the .21. 3.5cc HPI. Just had a, I broke that on the farm. The reason that I took it out of the truck was because I bought a K4.6 randomly and spontaneously in my local hobby shop. So that's the reason why I took that out. And there's nothing wrong with it. It still ran fine. And this was used every single day when I was a kid. And I mean every day. I mean literally, I would go to school, come home, get the Savage out, and just blast around the streets, I'd take my backpack on my back. Sometimes I'd even ride my BMX, and I'd have my controller in one hand, riding the BMX with the other, blasting around the streets. This went everywhere, man. This went on skate parks, it went around the farm, it went everywhere, and it was run every day for a good sort of 13 or 14 years. Yeah, it really was. And then when I grew up a bit more and I went to college, I started playing around with my actual real full-size car a lot more than I did with my Nitro car. So it kind of started to get a bit less use then, but it had a lot of use on it. So I've never ever taken it apart, never ever. So I don't know what it's going to be like in here. In fact, that's pretty much mint. You can't moan at that. I never ever, not that you're about to see it here, but I never ever done the whole wind it down to the bottom now, keep it away from the pinch. Never done any of that. Wherever it stopped, it stopped. Never used after-run oil. Never done none of that, because it's just the way I was brought up, we never did none of that. There is some play on that big end, but I wouldn't say it was anything significant whatsoever. I'd say that's perfectly more than usable. I'll try and get this to focus on it if I can. I don't think it will because I've got the wrong lens on this camera. I sold all my other lenses to buy some engine oil for my real car because it needed a service. So I sold a couple of lenses, now I've only got this one. Now I wonder if you can see that. A little bit of play, nothing bad, nothing significant. That's perfectly fine, no play in and out. I've got to go and find a flywheel and a clutch and all that. I might have to nick it off the 4.6, mightn't I? Unless I can nick it off the other engine. But that's fine. I'm not even going to bother taking the head off. Do you want me? You're going to want me to take the head off, aren't you? You are. You're going to want me to take the bloody head off. Of course you are. You know, are a pain in the arse. Right, let's take this head off then. Camera battery's going to run out as usual. The compression. What is the compression like? Well, I've undone the head bolts now, so I wouldn't expect it to be a lot now. I've undone these bolts a little bit, but two of them are still tight. That one was already loose. A lot of rust on the top of these. This has probably been out of the truck now for... What year did I buy the K4.6? I'm pretty sure that I bought that well, I might be wrong here, but the K4.6 has only just come out. It only just come out. I know that for a fact. I don't know what year exactly that was. But just by piecing certain parts of my life together, and when I bought it from Heath's RC Models, which was a fantastic model shop down in Leigh-on-Sea, near Southend-on-Sea, I'm going to say it must have been about 2010. Yeah, it must have been around 2010, maybe 2011, but it was definitely around there somewhere. Might have been before that, might have been after that. We've got no shims on there. Oh, we have. We've got two shims on there. That liner's lovely. There's nothing wrong with that liner whatsoever. That piston goes up and down on there. Look at that. That's beautiful. It's minty. Minty fresh, that is. Minty fresh. You can see all the ports in there. You probably can't see a dicky bird, man. I shouldn't have sold the other lens. I should have kept the other lens and sold this lens, but the other lens was worth more money. So yeah, there we go. Absolutely mint. Perfect. Right, I'm going to put this back together. I'm not going to film it because I'm going to save my battery on my camera. Then I'll go and see if I can get a flywheel and a clutch. I've got a collet on there, look. I just need a flywheel, a clutch and a bolt, or a nut even, I should say. And that's it. That's all I need. Oh, I've got a pull start. This one I found this in the box, in my toolbox. It's a, what is it? It's a false one. It's not a HPI one. The original one snapped many years ago. And I kept putting ones on there, but I must have nicked one off of it at some point. It's gone somewhere. So put this one on it, it'll fit. And then what we'll do is we'll stick it in the truck and we'll try and get it to vroom, fire up, you know. Back in a minute. I was just in the middle of doing this and I thought I'd better film it because you'll probably want to see it. So I've just decided last minute just to check on the small end because well, I'm a little bit suspicious of it, to be honest. Now that I've got it apart, like I say, I would have just ran it anyway, but now that I've got it apart, I just want to check on that small end, so see what that's like. I did have one of those liner pullers, but I don't know where the bloody hell it's gone. It would have gone somewhere. Where it went, I don't know. I probably lent it to someone and it never came back at some point. Anyway, there's a liner. Those of you that might have been interested in looking at the liner, just looks normal. Right, let's check on this. Let's check on this little end, this small end. Oh, that's all right. Nothing wrong with that at all. That's perfect. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Not a single dicky bird wrong with that. Oh, it's a lovely little piston. Look at that. Brilliant. No crap in the groove. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, absolutely brilliant. Oh, I'm happy with that. Bearing's all right. I'll stick a bit of after-run oil in it now I've had it apart. Crank bearing, main bearings, they're all right. Oh, that's perfect. Absolutely lovely. Yeah. This engine's been flat out across many fields. Flat out. When I was a kid, like, I cared because I grew up around engines and stuff, you know, doing the motocross and all that and all of that. So I knew about it, or I cared about it, but I didn't hold back, you know. I was the modern day Kevin Talbot. I mean, not the modern day. I was the olden day Kevin Talbot, you know. You know, I didn't give an uncle's monkey really. I was just having fun, you know. Put a bit of after-run oil on it, it'll help this liner go down because it was a bit stiff, wasn't it? Spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down and all that, you know. Might have to go and stick it in the vice like I did with the Thunder Tiger. Little bit of a thing there. If you tip it upside down, the piston, then it should just go straight down as long as it's the right way. Doesn't always work though. Sometimes you have to manipulate it a little bit, but we got it there. That's lined up. Happy days. Liner is in, piston's in. oiled up. Nice. Right, now I'll put it back together. I just wanted to check that small end because it was making a bit of a clunk, and I was a bit concerned about the clunk. I was thinking, well, maybe that is, maybe the little end is a bit dicky. But no, it's not, it's alright. Plenty of oil in there now. I got this after-on oil, so I might as well use it. I'd usually use 3-in-1 oil to lube up these little Nitro engines and any engine like that. But we'll use a bit of after-on. Anyway, it's going back together now. See you in a minute. Right, I've just put it together, apart from the flywheel and that. We've still got some. It has got compression. It is there. I reckon it will still run just as well as it ever did. This was a lovely little engine. I'll keep saying it and I'll say it over and over again because it was a lovely little engine. It really was. Anyway, I've got to try and find a clutch and a flywheel. All these engines up here on the shelf that I'm playing with ain't got none of them apart from this. This is the K4.6 that I replaced this with. This has got a 2-shoe clutch in it on it and a flywheel. I suppose I could nick that off of it. I think I'll nick this fly. It might even be the one that come on it. Because in my head, in my memory, this come ready to run. This engine, because I remember I bought it at Heaps RC Models. It's in the display cabinet, and I was sure that it had a flywheel and a clutch and everything on it. They'd built it up, and it didn't come in a box or anything. It was just, he literally picked it up out of the display cabinet, handed it to me. I paid him £120, and that was that. But maybe it didn't, because I don't know why I would have took that off there. Maybe this is the flywheel and clutch that came off that. I don't know. Anyway, it's going back on it now. So let me just take this clutch and flywheel, stick it on here. I'll have to find a bell. Well, that's never going to work, is it? I might have to take the bell off of the 3.5 that's in the other engine now. In the 21 now. I think I've got any more bells. Looking in the toolbox now. See, I've got some bells somewhere, but I don't know if I've got any of the right teeth amount. Anyway, stop chattering, chit chat crap. Let's get this off and put it on. I just thought I'd better film this. I'm trying to save the battery on the camera, so I want to better do this in one lot with that and go and charge the camera and come back tomorrow. But someone asked me, how do you take a flywheel off a Nitro engine the other day? And I said I would make a video on it, but since I'm doing it now, I might as well do it now. So you undo the nut, and sometimes they'll pull off, but this one's not. So what you do, you can do it many ways. If you ain't got you buy one of these flywheel pullers. Look, they're only cheap. I've had this one for years and years. They're only cheap. I had it when I had a whole set of bearing pullers and all sorts, but I gave that, someone nicked it. I lent it to them, they never gave it back. But luckily I didn't give them this. It's a flywheel puller. You can stick the flywheel in the vise and pull on it and it'll come off, but you know, some people disagree with that because you're pulling on the whole crank. With a flywheel puller, you're not pulling on the whole crank. What you're doing is, so you wind that all the way in, like that. Hopefully you can see. You wind that all the way in like that. Till that goes all the way in there like that, see? See that there? Right in there like that. And then you put that on there like that. Right? Right? So the two little fork fingers, the little hook fingers go behind the flywheel, yeah, like that. And then you put the crank inside that thread there. It fits inside the end of the crank, and you wind it like that, yeah? And what happens is, when you're screwing that, the threaded rod thing pushes on the crankshaft, yeah, so you're not putting on the bearings if you would if you put it in a vise and yanked on it. It pushes in on the crankshaft, right, yeah, yeah, and then these little things pull on the flywheel, so you're pushing the crankshaft in and the flywheel out in one go, and that's how it pulls it off. You can stick the flywheel in a vise, yeah, and pull gently on the engine, yeah, make sure you've got access to the crank, and give the crank a tap with a hammer. Now the shock will let the flywheel come off and you're pulling on it as well. You can do that as well. There's many different ways, more than one way to skin a cat, yeah, but the proper way, and the way that some of you lot won't bollock me for, is if you use a proper flywheel puller. It's the proper way of doing it. Yeah, that's all you do, and then you screw that, and you'll see. You watch. Oh, there you go, popped off. It's off now. See, it all comes loose. There's a flywheel. Little washer just come off as well. Yeah, and then you can. All you got to do then, get your collet. Am I gonna? Oh, I've got a collet on there. Look, I don't need to take the collet off. But if you want to take the collet off, you just get a screwdriver behind it, and just peel it off like that. It'll come off. But I don't need to get the collet off because I've got one on there. Right. And when you put a flywheel on again, jam that on there like that. Right. Get your nut. Right. Do that down there like that. Get your spanner. This one happens to fit actually. A lot of people say that they use these, but I've never had one that fits. Now, the proper way to do it is to do it as tight as you can get it. And some people say they use a saying. Oh, these mold grips ain't big enough. They use a saying. Well, not a saying, but they use a method. When you're doing it, you're aiming. You're trying to break the crankshaft. You're trying to snap the crank. Yeah, but I don't try and snap the crank. I might do with this one, but a lot of my tools that I use aren't for nitro engines. They're for bigger stuff. And if I really graunched on it, what would happen is I would actually snap the crank. I normally use 1/2" ratchets for this, but I couldn't be bothered to get that out. And I thought I'd have a look, see if this one fits, and it does. It does fit. But you get your mold grips that need oiling up because they're stiff and they don't work properly. You get them. Yeah, so you can get a good grip on it. You can put it in the vise if you'd rather put it in the vise, but for ease of showing you lot, I'm not going near the vise because it's all the way over there. Right, so you hold it there, the mold grips like that, and then you do it out like that, nice and tight, yeah, because you don't want that spinning, yeah. You don't want the flywheel spinning on the collet, yeah. Because what happens is, yeah, if you don't do that tight enough, right, you understand? If you don't do that tight enough, right, sorry you lot, as I was the battery ran out of camera, so what I had to do was. I'm having to film you on a telephone now. I mean, this is... When you've got to film stuff on a phone, you know you've hit rock bottom. I'm only joking, we're on a phone, the battery run out of camera there. So what I've got to do... what I was saying was... Is what you don't want the flywheel spinning on that collet. Yeah, because then your crank's spinning around, but your flywheel's spinning on that. Yeah, it's skipping, yeah, slipping. You're not putting all your power into your clutch, and then that means it ain't going to the bell, or that means it ain't going to the wheels. So all your power that you're making on your engine, yeah, ain't doing nothing. I mean, so you got to make sure you get that tight, that grip's on there. Happy days. Everyone have a nice happy life, and we all move along and have a good old time. That little washer there, that goes on there like that. Like that there. Happy days. Right. Oh, by the way, I think I've resurrected that battery. Anyone that's following the thing about that, I think I've resurrected it. What I done was I stuck it on charge on a nickel metal. I didn't send it back in the end. I ain't going to send it back. There's no point in hassling because the shop that I bought this from, they're bloody good. And if I keep saying this is that, they'll get the hump with me, and it's not worth it. I'd rather just keep good relationship with them. So what I've done is I've stuck it on a nickel metal hydrate charge for 20 seconds, and then I quickly changed it over to LiPo, and it charged. And it held I put it on storage charge, and it held a storage charge for about a week. So that's good. So now I've just charged it up fully now, just now. I'm going to go and put it in the buggy tomorrow, and we'll give it a go. Anyway, regardless, let's put this together, and then we can go and light the barbecue and have a few burgers. Right, I was hoping to get it in the truck today, or this evening, or in this video, and fire up, but I'm not going to be able to. I'm running out of time now. And I'm still filming on this phone. I mean, it's a good phone, but I just don't like filming on phones. I mean, I think it's bloody terrible filming on a bloody phone. So, what I'm going to do, make sure the battery's charged fully for the camera for tomorrow, and we'll stick it in the truck tomorrow. We'll fire it up, and then once we've got it all running, probably in that same video, we're going to give it a blast, providing it runs well, which I have no doubt that it will. It'll run absolutely brilliant. But yeah, there we go. The old clutch is on there. Hardly anything left on that clutch, but that'll do. It still ran fine the last time it ran, so I mean it still moved fine the last time it ran, so we'll just use that anyway. That'll be absolutely brilliant. I'll stick an air filter on it. Yeah, man, there we go. So those of you wanted to see the inside of it, I know I didn't go into too much detail and in depth, but there we go. It's mint inside, a bit clattery, but that's all right. It doesn't matter if it's a bit clattery, does it? I'm sure that it will run absolutely brilliant. So thanks for watching. Appreciate every single one of you. And don't forget, next video of this, it'll be in there. At the moment, we've got the Hot Bodies 3.5 engine in there. If you want to see that, when I gave this a bit of a run, probably a couple of videos back, if I remember, I'll put a link in this video for that video. But this engine ran absolutely mint. It's a lovely little engine. First time it actually ran and driven in, I don't know what it was, 15, 20 years. And it ran brilliantly. So I'll be taking that out, sticking it on the shelf. And if I get any more Savages that are rollers, I'll probably put that in one of them. So yeah, that's probably what I'll end up doing. But yeah, it'll be exciting to match up the original engine back in this 21. You know, the original one that it come with. I know it's got the SS springs and that on it now, so it's not 100% standard anymore because I've changed it over the years. It still won't go backwards very well. But the original engine back in there, so it'll be like an old friend come back to life, you know. And it'll be looking like new again. Happy days. Right, you lot, thanks for being here. Remember, treat everyone equally, love life, and we'll all have a good life, you know. So, cheerio.